Now from the University of Okoboji, it's Okoboji Broadcast with Jeff Thee.
Welcome to Okoboji Broadcast, everybody, from the Dickinson County Museum, where history comes alive. And my weekly history teacher is here with me, Mary Dreier.
Teacher?
You're my teacher.
I would say partner in crime.
You know what? That does ring kind of true, doesn't it?
It kind of does.
Well, I was just thinking of last week, you taught me so much of things I didn't know, Mary, and that's
really
yes.
I love it when that happens.
That's the fun of coming to the museum here, and why you have people coming for Way Back Wednesdays and your other programming. So,
and I hope people come and they learn stuff, but that they enjoy being here at the same time.
Oh yeah,
I think you enjoy.
That's a safe assumption.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, today we're going to talk about an old friend.
One of my very favorite parts of Okoboji and Iowa Great Lakes history and lore. I mean, this has been a favorite of me since the time I was knee-high to a grasshopper.
Right.
Or before.
Before.
Yeah. Shorter than I am now.
The majestic queen.
The queen.
The original queen.
The original queen.
Yes.
Just, to me, the original queen just epitomizes all the glorious history of this area. It really does. She is not only the flagship of the Iowa Navy,
yes,
but I think she is the overarching symbol of this area. Well, and she kind of brings the past together with the present and the future, I think.
And I think that goes to speak to the queen too, of all the Sioux City, the many steamships that could have been replicated to take people on history tours on West Lake. The queen was the obvious choice.
The queen was the only choice.
Only choice.
Yeah, and absolutely the best choice. Let's talk just a little bit about the Queen One and how she came to be. And then we're going to go into the last part of her life, which we don't often hear about.
Right.
And I've learned some new things recently that I think might be interesting to everybody about it. The Queen One was built by the Burlington Cedar Rapids and Northern Railroad in 1883. Now, what's significant about this is that it was the same railroad that built the original Orleans Hotel. They were the big guys on Spirit Lake at the time. The Orleans Hotel opened in 1882 or 83, and the railroad wanted to have another way to attract people to come and stay at their hotel.
Right.
So they commissioned the building of the Queen, and they placed an order with the Dubuque Boat Company to do this. The steel hull was shaped and fitted at the Iowa Iron Works shop, and it was shipped to Orleans for assembly.
Okay.
So it was local dudes who actually put the steel hull together.
Sure.
The woodworking was done in the railroad's own shops. It makes sense, doesn't it?
What does? Yes.
It really does.
Yes.
It really does. Guess how much it cost? We're thinking 1882,
1883. I'm going to say somewhere up the $7,000 to $10,000.
Whoa! You are spot on. $7,500.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Which really was a lot of money then.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
It really
adjusted to 2023, you bet.
Right. And she was built to hold 250 passengers. I look at the Queen 2 today, and I know I've been on cruises when there have been 120, 140 passengers, but 250 passengers,
that's a lot.
That's a lot.
Yes.
So the Queen started out her life on Big Spirit Lake.
Right.
And she was there for about 16 years. Her span on Big Spirit Lake was as long as the span of the original Hotel Orleans was, about 16 years. And there were a few things that brought about the end of both the original Orleans Hotel and the Queen on Big Spirit. Most importantly, there was a severe drought in the late 1890s. Story has it that the water level of Big Spirit Lake went down 8 feet.
Wow.
And so it wasn't fun for people to come and play in the lake anymore.
Right.
So the hotel was losing money, the railroad was losing money on that, and the Queen couldn't do her thing.
I was going to say, could the Queen sail with it down that? I mean, that hole had to have gone down quite a bit.
Yeah, I'm guessing she could have sailed in the middle of the lake, but probably couldn't come to the dock.
Yeah, tough to dock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, The Orleans Hotel was torn down because of the loss of money. And then the Queen was sold and taken over the isthmus into the Okoboji Lakes.
And we've seen pictures of that transition of
Yes.
moving it from Big Spirit into East.
It must have been quite the process. And she was sold to the Henderson brothers, who rebuilt her. She had a few problems going over the ice, went through the ice, and the Henderson brothers were boat builders and knew how to do stuff, and they figured out a way to get her out of the ice and were able to make repairs. She stayed on West Okoboji then for 72 years.
Wow. So after that length of time, making the home on West Lake and excursions and so forth, and the other fleet out there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Times changed.
Times changed.
And
Things get older.
things get older, and the Queen, too, was feeling her age.
Yeah.
In 1973, the Queen was sold to Adventureland Park. It was a big deal when the Queen was sold. I mean, think of it as the icon leaving the area, you know. What happened was that Adventureland Park had a pond, and they wanted to create different areas for different parts of historical Iowa life. And so they wanted the Queen to be a big part of this, okay? So how do you get a boat that weighs tons and is big and wide down to Des Moines?
Did they disassemble her at all? Or did they crane her out, put her on a flatbed and down to Des Moines?
She weighed 50 tons. And that was 13 tons over Iowa's highway limit at the time.
Okay, all right.
So she had to get special dispensation from the DOT to be moved. They hired Douglas Forbes, who was a house mover from Harris, to move her on his flatbed truck trailer.
So not disassembled, though, all the tonnage all in one.
All in one.
Okay.
On May 22nd, 1973, the Queen left the shores of West Lake Okoboji for the last time. The trailer took up more than half of the highway at times, traveling 5 to 15 miles per hour.
Oh my goodness.
People pulled over and drove to country crossroads to watch the massive boat travel down the highway. The Queen was escorted like royalty, with law enforcement and highway commission leading the way.
Wow.
Can you imagine?
I'm trying to think how long that would take to get down to Des Moines.
Took 2 days.
Okay.
2 days.
If I was the driver, do you know how nervous
Oh my gosh.
I would be? I'd be a wreck.
Could you imagine, for instance, going in the ditch
Uh-huh.
with the Queen on behind?
No. But that's what I would be imagining while I'm driving.
Yeah.
Sweat pouring down me.
I know. The Queen was not just any boat.
Right.
People stopped what they were doing to watch the progress. Coffee drinkers at the Spot Cafe in Milford carried their coffee outside to watch the Queen go by. Townspeople in other communities that the boat traveled by halted daily activities to come out and admire or honor the Queen. In a couple of places, the mayor of the town came out and held a little ceremony. The trip cost about $4,000. And then it cost Adventureland Park $30,000 to refurbish the boat.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just think about that process. And it's amazing to think about.
Yeah. And I forgot to mention that Adventureland paid $30,000 for the Queen.
Oh, okay.
So this was an expensive proposition.
Yeah.
It really was. I'm going to read a little bit from an article published by Adventureland about this move and about the lake.
Okay.
A man-made lake was constructed at Adventureland with an underwater track for the Queen to travel on. The Queen would travel in a loop around an island. However, not long after opening, there were problems with the Queen traveling along the track. Since the boat was not built to run along a track and due to its age, the Queen was retired and became a floating attraction. And in my memory, it wasn't on the track very long at all.
Okay.
It wasn't. It wasn't a practical ride, the Adventureland owner told the Des Moines paper in 1979. A host of mechanical problems plagued the renovated Queen at Adventureland. Among the issues included an aged charcoal steel hull that could be patched but not welded. This meant she was no longer lake-worthy.
Oh.
In 1976, the Queen was moved to a corner of the lake, and new paddle wheel boats were eventually brought to travel along the underwater track. The Queen sat near Sheriff Sam's saloon for a few years, while the owners hoped to give the boat the renovation it deserved. Following the 1979 season, the Queen was moved back to her dock at River City, and about $10,000 worth of painting, polishing, and sanding was done to refurbish the aging boat, transforming it into a stationary walk-through attraction. A Dixieland band was also added to provide entertainment on the boat. The boat is better known than any other in the state of Iowa. The owners told the Register, "We can assure the people that come next spring they're going to see the prettiest Queen they ever saw." But in 1985, the Queen was stripped down to the deck for a refurbishment. Unfortunately, it was no longer seaworthy, and it sank. Today, guests can still visit the dock where the Queen called home and see the pilings she was once anchored to just behind the funnel cake factory. But that's where she is.
That's where she sits.
I don't usually cry during these,
No.
but I'm about ready to cry, Jeff.
Well, such an icon of this area. And when you were talking about mayors having little ceremonies along the way and people stopping and paying tribute, it just goes to show you the generations that rode on her, or they'd see her when they'd come to Okoboji, that had a reverence for what she meant.
That's a word I hadn't thought of in connection with the Queen, but that's how I feel.
Yeah.
I revere her. I have reverence
It's a
for
reverence,
her.
yeah.
She was more than a boat. She was more than a steel hull.
Yeah.
She was the epitome of how life was here.
Yeah.
Back in the earliest of days.
Yes.
She saw it all.
Yeah.
She experienced it all.
And was a symbol of it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Wow. Well, next time I go to Adventureland,
look at the pond.
I will look at the pond
with reverence.
With reverence and think of the Queen.
Yeah.
How
exactly.
cool. Yeah. Well.
Exactly.
A life well lived, I think we could easily say.
A life well lived.
Yes, indeed.
And I forgot to mention, and I'm just going to say it, one of the reasons that the Queen is so special to me is my great-grandfather worked on the Queen back in the 1880s when she was on Big Spirit Lake.
Wow.
So that's a part of why I feel so strongly about the Queen.
Yeah. You've got blood relation to her.
I've got blood, yeah. My genes.
Yes.
I share DNA with the Queen.
Yes, you do.
Woo!
You're practically royalty standing here next to me right now.
I wouldn't say that. No. But
well,
she was a great boat.
Yes, indeed, and still great memories, obviously, that you have as well. So, well, thank you for letting us know the life.
Thank you for letting me
life of the Queen.
Tear up a bit here.
Yeah. You've got a program coming up here.
Yeah, we actually have a couple of things happening. We continue with our weekly Way Back When Wednesdays, 10 o'clock every Wednesday, and they are so fun. I always say we don't know what we're going to talk about, and we really don't.
Right.
But it's always fun and good. We have a couple of special programs coming up in October, though. On October 17th, John Smeltzer is going to be giving a Ancestry101.com class here for people who are interested in ancestry or genealogy and just need a little boost with getting started with ancestry.
Right.
You may not know, but we have the library edition of Ancestry.com on 2 computers here at the museum, and they're available for people to use anytime they want.
Yeah.
And so we really appreciate that John's willing to come and do this for our patrons.
Yeah.
Another thing that's coming up is on October 15th, Sunday afternoon at 2 o'clock, Don Hofsommer, who is the author of the book Prairie Oasis, which was published in 1975, is coming here from Mankato to speak about the early railroads of Dickinson County. What's fun about this is the last time Don Hofsheimer was here was in 1975 when our depot was rededicated
Wow.
as a museum, and it was the day after his book was published. And so
Coming full circle, aren't you?
we really are.
Yeah.
This is a big deal. I've met Don recently, and he is so funny and so fun, and he knows so much about this area. He grew up in Spencer.
Okay.
And he's a brilliant speaker. And like I said, it will be a fun afternoon, and he probably knows more about early railroading in Dickinson County than any person alive.
Wow.
He also knows a lot about the steamboats, and so I'm sure he'd be willing to talk about them too. But
Yeah, a little bit of everything,
This
yeah.
is a big deal,
It's a big deal.
that he is coming here. So I hope you all can come.
Very good.
Again, Tuesday, October 15th at 2 o'clock. Sunday, October 15th at 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
Very good. All right, my friend. Again, thank you for a little bit of a rundown of the life of the Queen and everything else you do here at the Dickinson County Museum. And we'll see you next week.
Sounds good, Jeff.
All
I'll
right.
look forward to it.
You betcha. Mary Dreier again here from the Dickinson County Museum. We thank her for her time. We thank you for watching, and thank you for watching us right here on Okoboji Broadcast. Okoboji Broadcast from the studios at historic Arnold's Park Amusement Park is brought to you in part by the Scott Troutman State Farm Agency in Spirit Lake, Quest Wealth Management, a financial advisory practice of Ameriprise Financial Services, advisor Jan Spielman, AJ Spielman, and Erica Wachholz. The headquarters of the University of Okoboji is at the Three Sons, open Monday through Saturday 10 to 5 and Sunday from 10 to 4. Bank Midwest, dream big, plan wisely, live well. Lakes Regional Healthcare and Avera Partner. Ruthven Locker at the Lake, where carnivores are welcome on Hill Avenue in Spirit Lake. Beck Engineering in Spirit Lake. Be Radiant Laser Skin Studio in the Okoboji Plaza in Okoboji.